Okay. You ready to go?
Let's do it.
We're recording?
This meeting is being recorded.
All right. This meeting is convened at 6:01 p.m. on June 3rd, 2026. I'm Kimo Griggs, Chair of the Norwich Selectboard. I'm joined by Brendan Klassen, Vice Chair, Mary Layton, Matt Sweat, and Rob Gear. Town Manager Brandon Duffy is with us running a Zoom session. Notes will be taken by Jenny Tolman, and Beatrice and Ivan from Junction Notes and Media will enable our digital communications and recording. Thank you for attending this special meeting of the Select Board, scheduled primarily to do work related to complaints in a lawsuit filed against the town by Chris Katucki of Norwich. We appreciate the valuable contributions of our town employees, elected and appointed officials, and the myriad volunteers that make our town what it is. We endeavor to be respectful of all while keeping what is best for Norwich as our North Star. If you are recognized during the meeting, please try to keep your presentation to a maximum of 3 minutes. Thank you. We have an agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda? Mary?
I think it needs amendments. So I would propose an amended agenda. One amendment would be, and I'm hoping I have the newest one, item 4, response to Katucki Public Records request lawsuit. I
Right.
should say proposed executive session to be consistent with the language that we agreed would adhere to the open meeting law.
Okay,
And I would like on number 3, which I believe is responses to Katucki OML, open meeting law complaints, I'd like the option for a proposed executive session for that item also.
Number 4.
Well, see, now this is, I have to say that it's been a little hard to work with this packet and this agenda. A lot of this information came in today while I was at work, and the agenda order was rearranged at the last minute and sent out again. There have been messages flying around, and it kind of tends to make me lose the plot a little bit. And this is very complex. It's either very complex or very not complex. I can't decide which. So, yeah, I just want to make sure when we're talking about number 3, it's responses to Katucki open meeting law. Is that what everyone understands? That we were all on the same agenda sheet?
It's published.
I think it's number
that's what I
4.
was proposing as a modification, yes. So this is actually a,
You're proposing it as a modification.
what's,
Propose it. Okay. So, I've got 2. I just need to be able to think these things through. This is item 3 and item 4, and they're both major issues that we have to deal with. It's helpful to me if it's just straight at the beginning, okay?
this is great, okay. We got some legal, we got something from lawyers, and they were using the original agenda. So I recommend we use the original agenda, in which case number 3 is response to the Katucki Republic's request, and number 4 is the
Okay.
OML complaints.
That's very helpful to have that explanation, and I would like a proposed executive session for both of those items. This is what I would like.
So you want to switch 3 and 4 around?
No, I want to understand what we're talking about, in what order, and I would also like to suggest that we could have a proposed executive session for each item.
Yeah, I agree with Mary. I think they're pretty weighty issues, and I think getting last minute motions and contributions from council, it's pretty tumultuous at the last minute. And I wonder if a 24-hour embargo might be a little more helpful to members of our select board. I put that out there for a proposal.
24-hour embargo, meaning,
You shut it down, lock it down this time yesterday.
yes.
We're
Okay, I don't know what other people were doing, but I was waiting for feedback, advice, and so on.
Well, you put in embargo, so whatever doesn't come in by 5 o'clock yesterday,
All right.
it's tabled
Well,
for the next
right
meeting.
now we're approving so let's, are there other suggested modifications? We're going back to the original agenda, so that number 3 is the Katucki Public Records Request lawsuit. Number 4 is the OML complaints. So this is what was published
In the packet.
in the packet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. Good.
Maybe it's worth letting people know that are either attending or in the audience that only have seen the packet.
Yeah.
That the reason that we're talking about this is because some last minute suggestions were emailed out about changing the agenda. And then we also received some letter from council referring to different numbers on the agenda that were potentially modified. So we're just trying to get all our ducks in a row here. And it's been hard to get last minute information on topics that are really detail oriented, and to read all the thoughts and considerations in kind of the last 4 hours, maybe less, has been difficult.
okay. Any other, before we have a motion? No one has moved this, so
I'll move the agenda as published.
As what,
As modified?
what does that mean?
As amended. As amended,
Okay, oh, good.
with Mary's proposed executive wording inserted.
Both 3 and 4,
Yeah.
Thank you.
all right?
And both proposed not possible, right?
I believe that's the language. that we-
Proposed is the language
Language we need to use,
that we
right?
need to use according
We
to
agreed, yeah.
1 VSA 312D3.
Further discussion?
Oh, we need a second.
Motion is now, please.
So the motion is to accept the agenda as amended, accepting the version that was posted, warned, with the amendment of, for number 3, replacing possible with proposed, then copying that language, proposed executive session for item number 4. Make sense? Okay. Let's vote.
Did we have a second?
No,
Oh, I think
How did that work?
Brendan seconded it, or was he?
I proposed it.
Oh, you proposed it. I'll second.
okay. Vote. Clausen,
Aye.
Layton,
Yes.
Here,
Yeah.
Wet,
Yes.
Griggs is a yes. All right, moving on, public comments for items not on the agenda. Do we have any public comments? Hearing none, we'll move to item number 3, which is a response to Katucki Public Records Request lawsuit. We have a number of motions on our motion sheet. The later ones are related to number 3, and the earlier ones are related to number 4.
Could you, I'm sorry, Mr. Could you clarify that statement of later and, what do you mean later?
Page,
If you start on with where it says item number 3, A,
is
B,
solutions. And then we have a motion to disclose substantive executive sessions. We have another motion to release. And C, we have D, ratify or avoid actions, and E, acknowledge and adopt policy. After that, we have item number 4, which was the response to the public records request lawsuit, possible executive session.
Okay, I got it.
So the number 4 on the
Yeah.
motion sheet should be moved up to number 3. And number 3, A, B, and C, and D, and E should be moved to number 4.
So renumbering or just changing the order?
Well, we can
Okay.
change the number
All right.
if you like.
Okay.
So item number 4, which is now item number 3, response to Katucki Public Records Request lawsuit, possible executive. Executive session.
Nothing to ask the question.
Yes.
I'm baffled and confused over here, and so in your motion sheet that you sent out around 4:30, is the motion sheet switched to the second agenda that you had proposed where 3 and 4 are switched? I think that's really confusing.
It was. That's correct. So we're switching those numbers. Number 3.
So for item 3, which is what we're on right now,
Yes.
is the third page where item 3?
Yeah.
It's not.
Bottom of the 3rd page, response to Katucki Public Records Request lawsuit.
I don't see one on page 3, that's what.
The papers are not,
If the board would like, we as the attorneys for the town can suggest motion language to go into executive session for this item. In both motions, that would hopefully eliminate the confusion about the numbering and what pages and papers.
So I think the titles of the motions are sufficiently detailed to allow us to just select them, even if they're out of order. They're quite definitive. So I see item 4, response to public records request. I see item 3 as proposed solutions to OML. So we can just adapt and modify to this. It's pretty simple, right?
Yes. Change item 3 to item 4.
Yeah, and we should take it in the order, right? So it's, the titles are so definitive, I think it helps us, which is good.
So we're on item 3, which is to respond to public records request lawsuit. We have discussed this, I think, at length. Yes.
I would like to make a motion because I'd like to hear from our council. So, and there was a suggested motion, which I'm going to follow here. I move to find, and I hope I get the right one, I believe this is for the public records request, right?
Yes.
Okay. I move to find that premature public knowledge regarding confidential attorney-client communications concerning the lawsuit filed against the town on May 4th, 2026 by Mr. Katucki would clearly place the select board at a substantial disadvantage by disclosing the town's litigation strategy, the town attorney's liability assessment, waiving attorney-client privilege and litigation strategy, which could be used against the town. So that's a finding. Part 2, I move to enter executive session pursuant to 1 VSA 313A1E and F for the purposes of discussing the pending litigation filed against the town by Mr. Katucki on May 4th, 2026, and receive confidential attorney-client communications regarding the same, inviting the town manager and the town's attorney to attend.
So I will, because those are two, you've moved two things.
Oh, that's true. I've got to go back to the first, sorry. Yeah,
Sequentially.
sorry.
So I will second the first
Okay,
movement that you
sorry,
made.
that's my mistake.
That's all right.
So we'll need to vote on that one.
Yeah,
We have a second.
I second it.
We have to vote on, I did,
Okay.
I'm a little out of order.
No.
No, okay.
Leighton,
Yes,
here,
Yes.
Sweat,
Yes.
and Griggs is a yes.
Okay,
All right, next.
and then the next part. Shall I move it again to make it cleaner, or?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Okay,
I'm sorry. I'm not sure we have to remember to have discussion.
Oh, about the finding?
Did we open discussion to that?
One by one, we should.
Yeah.
There's a hand up there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yes, Pam.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I heard a disembodied voice, and I have absolutely no idea who was speaking. So if
Interesting.
people wish to contribute, I wish they would identify themselves first. So that's my request, is that anyone that wishes to speak, myself included, Pamela Smith, I would like the speaker to identify themselves. Having disembodied voices come across the meeting is a little disconcerting. Someone said they were a town attorney, and yet the town attorney that's on the screen was not the one speaking.
Great question.
Attorney David Rue is in the room with me. He's just off my camera.
But he did not identify himself. I have no idea who that is. And it's our policy that before you speak, you identify yourself. I'm on screen showing my name, Pamela Smith, and your name is there, Bariah, but I don't know who this other attorney is. And he didn't identify himself. He just spoke up and said he was a town attorney. So my request is that anyone who wishes to speak during the public session identify themselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Pam. As a point of order, Mr. Chair, I reaffirm that request. Identification for people who don't necessarily have video and may be remote on phone.
Does that include, are you including members of the select board? Pam?
No, just the members of the
Okay.
public
Yes.
or guests that are there to participate. The
Yes.
rule is you should say your name first. Thank you.
Correct. You're welcome. All right. Any further discussion? Yes, please. Pam, your hand is still up.
Priscilla Vincent. I was trying to listen carefully to the motion for the reasons for going into executive session, and having been trying to follow the discussion throughout several meetings, doesn't seem to me there's any more clarity than we ever had when we were called into the lawsuit. I don't understand. I don't understand the need for executive session, and it has not been made clear to me. That's all. Shall I, Chairman Griggs, may I respond?
Mr. Chair, my name is Dave Rue. I'm with SPNF Attorneys, one of the town's attorneys. I regret violating the town's policy by not introducing myself first. I am in the room with Attorney Smith and will be participating as needed and as desired by the Select Board. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Mary.
May I respond to the public comment?
Yes.
Okay. I do think it's important to get legal advice in making the decisions that we have to make for the town. Doesn't mean I'm going to follow it blindly, but I would like to just hear the point of view. And we've heard, many legal opinions from Mr. Katucki, who has filed a lawsuit against the town. I'd like to hear, the other point of view from our attorneys. And also, since we are engaged in the lawsuit, just uncertain whether my questions would impact the lawsuit in a way that would hurt the town. So I'm just seeking information from counsel. It might be fair to, I don't know, if possible, make a statement afterwards. So that's the best I can do. I mean, I read it off. I can read it again if it's helpful. I sort of rattled it off.
Good. And also remember, this matter has been discussed at length in the public forum with counsel. And we felt that we lacked certain information that we can only get in executive session. Please.
Right, but also there are other reasons that are stated in this finding, disclosing the town's litigation strategy, that was what I was trying to get at. The town attorney's liability assessment, it's like, well, how would making the information public make the town more liable? You know, these are all legal questions. And then just waiving attorney-client privilege, it's like, well, in certain circumstances, maybe you do want to have that privilege, at least to gain some perspective on what we're talking about. And I know that our, respected citizen, John Carroll, said, well, all you have to do is read the law. But I don't, I'm willing to read the cases, but that doesn't mean that I have a legal perspective on it. I have a personal perspective. I've got my experience, life experience, and experience on this board. But even hearing about, some of the sections of like the part of the statute that has to do with agenda setting, where, now we've got a very strict, I think, interpretation. I think it was 317 something. I'm hearing a different interpretation from our attorneys than I am from Mr. Katucki. So to me, it's like the war of the lawyers. And the statutes are not, completely cookbook. They enable certain things, they allow certain things, but I do think there's a gray area where we have to use some judgment, or we probably wouldn't even be here. So that's my perspective on this.
What I wrote in the motion sheet is that the case being considered is Katucki versus Town of Norwich, pending at Vermont Superior Court, Windsor County. It's a public records case involving 5 claims. In general terms, the plaintiff alleges the town improperly redacted records he requested and overcharged him for copies. The complaint was filed May 4th, 2026. Town's response is due July 5th. The purpose of an executive session is to hear from counsel, get their candid assessment of the merits of the case, how we might proceed. If we discuss our assessment of our own weaknesses, our legal strategy, and any settlement posture in open session, then the plaintiff could use this information to the town's detriment in court negotiations. It would clearly put the town at substantial disadvantage. If you have general questions about the case, we may be able to answer them in open session when we hopefully come out.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
So I think this is interesting because it's sort of a progression of the original OML. And I think in many respects, the key word in this motion is public. Public records request. If we continue to elect to enter executive session to seek counsel from a legal firm of whom I've already spoken of my reservations in a memo some weeks ago, I think we as a select board are compromising ourselves as representatives of the public. We have been tasked to represent the public, to make judgment to the best of our ability. We should, to the best of our ability, not run to lawyers at every turn. I do not believe that's necessarily helpful. We have debated through hours of the pros and cons of this. To continue to insist on executive session, I think is unwise. We've already admitted the OML violations. We've clearly admitted them, declared them in public, and we're in the newspapers for so doing. I had written to this body, including the town manager, for a request of a release of these redacted emails on April 17th. My request was met with crickets. You have the email in your inboxes. My request predated Mr. Katucki's request by exactly 18 days. He asked for the same stuff that I had already asked for on April 17th. The response that I received from Chairman Griggs, Selectman Greer, Selectman Sweat, Selectman Layton was nil. The response I received from the town manager was, Mr. Klassen appears to be misguided. I throw it back to the select board for a quorum decision of 3-2 or higher. Next. This is not particularly helpful.
Mary.
Thank you for your words, which I've listened to and will consider. We're still in the middle of deciding as a board if any of the rest of the board would think it helpful to go into executive session to hear from town council. So I would like to move the second part of the motion and just see, if people don't agree, then we're kind of back where we're exactly where, Brendan is talking about. Okay?
Get the spelling right.
I'm sorry,
Okay.
Brendan and Brennan.
It's confusing.
This whole thing is confusing.
Final bit of discussion. I think that we have done everything that you have requested on this topic of the public records request lawsuit. We have done as much talking in public as possible so far, and the only thing that's missing, I feel, from my ability to weigh sort of all viewpoints on this topic and make an independent assessment of how I'd like to vote, is to be able to talk with our lawyers. And I think that needs to be done for all the reasons that were outlined in the motion, and that Chemo also outlined in an executive session. And then I feel like I can do the best that I can do as a select board member representing the public, because then I'll have all the pieces of the puzzle that I need to then, weigh in there how I feel about them to make an informed decision. To me, this isn't this isn't that complicated. We're being sued, and we should be able to have an executive session with our legal counsel. And I would imagine that certainly a segment of our voting public would see that as completely reasonable. So.
Well, I think the other, Mr. Chair, if I may, the other considering factor here is that 3 of us present at this table were present during these deliberations, the executive sessions, the select board meetings. Myself and Selectman Gear were not present. If anything, it would be myself and Rob Gear asking for attorney backup, advice, guidance, because we are operating in the dark to some extent compared to our 3 colleagues. The constant assertion of attorney-client privilege, I've got to be honest with you, I've not seen these redacted emails, some of which include your correspondence, some of which you were privileged to. Far from attorney-client privilege, I feel decidedly underprivileged, because I am in the dark on this, and I'm being asked to adjudicate on behalf of our townsfolk a ruling on this, and I don't know the whole story. I've had to read between the lines, like second-guessing the Epstein files. There are so many redactions on this thing. A smart person could probably figure it out, but I'm not saying that I'm that smart. I'd like to see the whole lot. Why haven't we, as representatives of the town, Rob, I'm looking at you and myself, why haven't you and I been afforded full, unfettered access to every one of those 537 emails?
I believe we have.
We have not.
We have the unredacted emails.
We have a cohort, a small tranche. We got 6 pages, then we got 3 more. We have nowhere near been shown the whole lot.
The town manager would like to.
I'm going to ask Mariah also to weigh in here. I do believe that all of those unredacted emails were put into the share file for everyone to view.
Yeah, so Brendan,
No, I read.
On May 27th,
Right.
after my initial request on April 17th.
But they have been,
Interested.
just for the record though, they have been
Yeah.
released to us.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to be accurate.
So my colleagues' comments on these emails, have you read them? Do you have comments? Do you have concerns?
I want to stay on mark here.
Yes.
Mary.
I would just like to move the second half of the motion and hear from council. I'm not here to have a, 5-hour debate on whether I've read those redacted emails, some of which I wrote myself. So I would like to get down to the second part of the motion, is what I'd like to do. Okay? May I move that? Thank you.
Anytime, yes.
All right. I move to enter executive session pursuant to 1 VSA 313A1E and F for the purposes of discussing the pending litigation filed against the town by Mr. Katucki on May 4th, 2026, and receive confidential attorney-client communications regarding the same, inviting the town manager and the town's attorney to attend.
Second. Discussion.
I wish to register a protest.
Okay, well, you'll
Is it a discussion or is it a vote? Can I justify my vote?
well, we're in discussion. You may say as you please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As I wrote in my memo of, I think it was May 13th, I do not feel the attorney firm of Stitzel, Page and Fletcher are fully cognizant of our statutory obligation by virtue of our oath of office to adhere
I need
to.
cut this off. This doesn't have to do with our moving into executive
I
session.
don't trust the lawyers.
Okay, that's a personal view that you can take with you into the vote, but I don't
It's an oath of
believe
office
this is the appropriate venue for a, I'm sorry, yes.
Priscilla Vincent again. I'm just curious to know if the purpose of the executive session is to decide whether you do or do not wish to pursue litigation.
Fair question.
I guess I can respond. We may each have different reasons for wanting to or not to go into executive session. We'd have to tally this, but I think there's some discomfort among some members of the board in making a decision without getting all of the expertise that they would expect to get from colleagues, professional advisors, and so on. So I feel that leaving the executive session out of the mix puts them at a disadvantage in terms of making a decision. The decision will be made on our own. It will be made in public. But we will get information and advice.
To what end?
Well, that's a good question. Yes,
That is a response demanded by the open meeting law.
you're a little out of order here. Pam, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Pam Smith. Did I miss something? I did not hear a vote on Mary's first motion. I heard a motion and a second, but I don't recall hearing a vote. Did I miss something?
Yes,
Yes,
we voted 4-1. We unfortunately did it a little bit backwards and then regressed into discussion because we forgot to do that ahead of.
We did vote, though.
Okay, I did not hear
It's on
that.
the record. Sorry.
All right, thanks.
Any further discussion?
A response to Priscilla, there are 5 counts to this complaint, and we won't make any decisions as a body in executive session because that would be not legal. But I think that we would all be able to get and ask questions of our lawyer to get more to get further questions answered and more information so that then we could come back here and make a greater informed decision. But it's only to gather information. It's not to discuss it among ourselves.
All right, no further discussion. Let's vote. Klassen,
No.
Layton,
Yes?
here,
Yes.
Sweat.
Yes.
All right. I don't particularly feel a need, so I'm going to vote no, but without prejudice. All right. So discussions in executive session shall be limited to the identified topic described in the motion. No formal or binding action shall take place during executive session. So, off we go.
On time entered, we need that.
Time entered 6:37.
So I'm on line right now to be placed in the waiting room, and then when we have executive session, we'll be put back into I'm gonna let you guys in first, just to make sure it's ready to go, and then I'll let everybody else in.
This meeting is being recorded.
Do I hear a motion to enter public session?
I move to enter public session.
Second?
Second.
And we'll vote. We've got Clausen,
Yay.
Layton,
Yes.
Gear,
Yes.
Sweat,
Yes.
and Griggs is a yes. All right. Matt, would you like to make a statement?
Yes. In our executive session, we talked with town attorneys about the Public Records Act lawsuit filed by Mr. Katucki against the town. No other matters were discussed and no actions were taken.
And no documents were produced.
Yeah, and no documents were produced.
All right. Thank you. Item number 4. Proposed solution to Katucki OML violation complaints. Motion to.
I'd like to make a motion to enter executive session on this topic as well. I believe I do. I move to find that premature public knowledge regarding confidential attorney-client communications concerning the additional demands Mr. Katucki has made of the Select Board concerning the Select Board's cure of the admitted open meeting law violations in his May 21st, 2026 email to the Select Board would clearly place the Select Board at a substantial disadvantage because otherwise it would lead to the town's release of confidential communications subject to the attorney-client privilege, which could be used against the town. A disclosure of the town attorney's liability assessment and discussions regarding litigation strategy and resolution of the litigation.
Second.
Is there a second?
And voting.
Discussion.
Discussion.
Oh, yeah, yes, discussion. Yes, please. Any discussion among them? Nope. Mary?
I still would find it valuable to hear our attorney's perspective on this aspect of the violations of the open meeting law. So I just would find it valuable to hear what they have to say. So,
No?
And this is specifically item 3, right? The
4, isn't it?
I think we should just refer to it as the open meeting law.
solutions to the
Yeah, because of the confusion, but yeah.
So this is to, just to be clear, this is to disclose the substance of the exec session on January 28th. And of course, Rob and I weren't there at the time, but you 3 were. And then there's the Norwich Fire District letter. That's all roped into the same?
Yes, there's A, B, C, D, and E.
So I see A as the substance of the exec session, the fire district, and the concerning behavior thing is A. B is a single email,
Release of unredacted.
January 22. And C is
Was it January 28?
22.
Okay.
C,
28.
it was the lead up to the January 28th.
Oh, yes.
And then D, where am I? C now, right? All emails to items 6 and 8. So this is the, help me here, this is the draft audit release, the allegation, and the fire district tax exemption
Yeah.
bit, right? There's 2 points, okay. And D is to ratify or void any actions taken at these 2 sessions, which Rob and I weren't part of. So we're a bit
Yep.
like hidden from our point of view on that one. And E is,
Acknowledge and adopt a policy acknowledging a legislative privilege, deliberative process privilege.
so this is whether we're a town department or an elected body. And whether 317 applies to us, correct?
Yes.
Kind of John Carroll's assertion. He says, no, we are,
Assertion.
unsure? This is 317, C17.
Right.
And the position is that it does not shield because we are not a department of the town. We're an independent elected body. Okay.
Right, that was the.
All right, so that's the 5 subsections, A through
A
E.
through E.
Yeah.
Okay. And do we need counsel on all 5?
I think so.
I think all 5 were asked in the cure, so it is worth hearing what they have to say about it.
Right.
Item 4 is proposed solution to Katucki OML violations complaints.
So we've moved a long way forward with this. Do we or do we not have the information like almost at our fingertips and ready to make a call? Matt?
I would reflect the last thing I said before we went into the other executive session, which is that I feel like we're missing an obvious piece that we should receive sort of counsel's advice in executive session in order to appropriately weigh all of the points of view before making our own decisions.
So our points of view plus 1.
What do you mean?
Us 5 plus council.
Oh, I would say my points of view are founded upon everything that everybody has said up until this moment, either in public session or in executive session.
Mr. Chair, we have a public comment.
I know. I'm waiting for any more comments from the board. Seeing none, member public.
Priscilla Vincent again. I'm sorry, maybe it's because I haven't been paying enough attention, but I thought that the board had admitted to the violations and presented a cure. And then I thought that was kind of settled. Apparently
Right.
not. Is Mr. Katucki unhappy with
No,
the cure or?
quite happy. But after you tell us what the cure is, they have to take the pills. So we still have to take the pills. No.
I don't understand. Well, I mean, I would have thought this was settled, but it's not.
Well, some of the cures said that we would do certain things, and we haven't done those things yet. It just said we would do them. In order to cure the problem, we have to do this. Now we have to actually,
So now you have to debate how to do, is that what the issue is? Is that why you
I
need
think
to?
we just have to vote to do those things.
Okay, because I just don't understand why that requires an executive session, but I'm not on the board anymore. Thank you for listening to
And
me.
my understanding
Thank you for your service.
was that when we did vote in the last session, that we did a number of the things that he asked for, and you're remembering correctly, but there's more things that he asked for as well that we need to talk about that came up in an email.
So we're not done, and some would like to get legal opinion.
I do think we're close. I really do.
I think so.
We're this close.
Could be.
I'm going to close with a quote because you're sick of hearing me speak. So I'm going to quote somebody else.
That's not true, Brendan. I'm not tired of hearing you speak.
The great Alexis de Tocqueville, who wrote his treatise Democracy in America, 1835 to 1840. This book has been claimed to be the greatest work on the citizenry of one country by the citizen of another. He was French. Everybody feels the evil, but no one has the courage or energy to seek the cure.
It sounds very French. La la.
Okay. So further discussion? Let's vote. Clausen,
Nay.
Layton,
Yes.
here,
Yeah.
Sweat,
Yes.
and I'm a no. All right.
Okay.
Second half. Would you like to move?
All right. Okay, I move to enter, oh, wait a minute. Okay, yep. I move to enter executive session pursuant to 1 VSA 313A1F for purposes of receiving confidential attorney-client communications concerning the additional demands Mr. Katucki has made in his May 21st, 2026 email to the Select Board regarding alleged open meeting law violations, inviting the town manager and the town's attorney to attend. We need a second.
Second.
Discussion. We'll vote. Layton,
Yes.
sorry, Clausen, Layton is yes.
Nay.
All right, here,
Yes.
what?
Yes.
And I'm a no. Enter executive session
And the time is
at 8:01 PM.
8:01.
All set?
Yeah.
This meeting is being recorded.
All right. We would like to move to enter public session.
I'm happy to do that.
So you'll say, move to enter.
I move to enter public session.
Sorry. Somebody second?
It's an echo, I think.
Second.
Vote, Klassen,
Aye.
Clayton,
Yes?
here,
Yes.
Sweat.
Yes.
And Griggs with a yes. All right.
The time enter is,
Time is 8:50 PM. We entered executive session to speak with counsel about continued OML violation complaint concerns of Mr. Katucki. There were no new documents and there was no action taken. The discussion for further information. Great. We'll move on to number 5. Consider adjustment to item 2.15, the town manager job description on the Norwich Town website.
Is your memo in the packet?
My memo is in the packet. It's the statement, is the case manager for litigation, except for litigation related to the performance or retention of the manager, to one more clearly aligned with Vermont statute and needs of the town. My experience has been that I feel there's a little confusion about what is our responsibility and what is the responsibility of the town manager. This is not a big deal, I don't think. I want to be clear, I'm not making this recommendation because I think our town manager would have erred in any way, but because the term not fully defined in the job description, it's not included in state statute as a responsibility of the town manager. It can be added, of course, as other things can. So I just thought it might make sense to clarify that. Just exactly what we do and what they do and who's responsible for what. There's a little bit of back and forth, and for me, a little bit of confusion about just exactly who handles what and when. So I thought it might be worth, and I'm happy to, because this came fairly late, happy to extend this conversation. There's no motion being made here to next meeting or after. It's just simply a question I bring up based on recent things.
Well, specifically, it's case matter for issues in litigation.
Well, that's what it says. I mean, the town manager assists us with all sorts of things, including legal matters. So it's not as though if he wasn't a case manager for legal, that he wouldn't be helping us anyway.
Yeah.
I think we've heard that case manager has to have legal training. I don't think that's true. My experience and my research indicates that most case managers come from administration or social work or often hospital work. So there's absolutely no reason a town manager can't be a case manager. But what does that mean exactly? I thought it might help everybody to better define that.
I looked in statute and I couldn't find anything. All I could find, and it's not statutorily defined. So all I could find is something in this quirky little book that is just a good read. I recommend for you anyway. Chemo dug it up for me from some lady in Main Street. What's her name?
Yeah, the old bookseller.
Right. So I'm not reading this as, black and white statute, but there's a very interesting section under elected town officers. And it goes through moderator, town clerk, selectman, board of civil authority, finance, board of listers. And then it says other town officers. Talks about 2 constables, grand jurors, fire warden, and an agent to prosecute and defend suits. And that's it.
When was this published?
yeah, this is very old.
1941. 1973. It actually says the Norwich Select Board had 3 members. We went to 5 members in April 1974.
So,
Yeah.
let's stay on track here.
I know. So, but that's all I could find. There's nothing in any like published documentation, let alone statute, that says that substantiates what an agent to prosecute and defend suits actually means. So it's murky.
Mary.
Is what I'm saying.
I read your memo. It just did come in late. I'd want to think about this a little more. But I did like your last paragraph that suggested language, which I think possibly even describes the management that the town manager usually does in the case of litigation. And the way it reads is the town manager may act as case manager for legal complaints and lawsuits being considered by the select board, handling logistical and administrative aspects of cases, as well as gathering information at the request of the select board, scheduling and coordinating meetings, and assisting both the select board and town council as required. Primary responsibility for decision-making for the town resides with the select board. So I sort of see that as what is already happening. To me, that's what the relationship is, and I think it's proper. So if this is just about kind of putting the obvious into some good language so everyone understands it, I'm behind that. Okay. But when it came up on the agenda, I wasn't quite sure that it wouldn't be a more broad restriction. But I just like the balance in that paragraph. I think it's fair.
I'm not trying to restrict anybody, I'm just trying to define.
I'm just saying as a matter of communication, sometimes the way, and it's tricky with an agenda because you sort of have some idea about what would make it useful or proper to discuss.
Yeah.
But the way it can come across on the agenda might not be exactly how you meant it, or, when it's fleshed out a little more. So anyway, I just wanted to say I appreciate that paragraph.
All right.
But I think it reflects what we already have, so maybe we don't need to fix it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
So you're happy with the select board as a body?
No, we're talking about the town manager's role as case manager for litigation. And I think that that Chemo wrote, to me, a pretty accurate paragraph about the way the town manager already functions as a case manager in our town. I think he functions fine. And I think it's just been expressed what he does and the proper boundaries and the more administrative aspect of it. Like when you say the primary responsibility for the decision-making is ours, yes. But that administrative piece is also very important because of the timing and seeing when people are available and lining people up and what is the deadline for the case, is it coming up, all that scheduling sort of thing. That really helps us a lot. It's kind of why we have a town manager, is to not have that administrative burden. So
do you place the decision to make redactions in the administrative bucket or the case manager bucket?
Well, okay, so I'm just saying that in general, I would not mess with the town manager's role as the case manager for litigation, okay? I know that we have been struggling for weeks, and maybe it's even months now, just to operate properly under the open meeting law, okay? So
maybe it is broken.
Yeah, and I don't really want to get into a debate about the open meeting law once again. I'm just saying in general, it's just like, that perhaps, there might have been some friction regarding relationship with one of the lawyers in Stitchell, Fletcher Page. But on the whole, the performance, you have to consider all the things that they've done for us. For instance, the support we got for our union negotiations, which I thought were brilliant, with John Clash and other, just like, don't throw out the baby with the bathwater, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't think there's a risk of doing that, but I appreciate what you're saying. Matt?
At risk of echoing exactly what Mary said, I agree with what she said. And I appreciate the effort that you put into the final wording at the end of the thing that you just sent out. And I think that it's worth talking about this in the future because time is important to think about things.
Yeah.
And I also wanted to recognize that you've done a lot of, that these are multidimensional issues. Priscilla was correct in noting that we did cure the first round of OML requests, and we have gotten, and this next one is the second round of requests for cure. So there's a lot of moving targets here, and I know that you're helping to try to collate everything and organize thoughts as the leader of our select board meetings, which are happening more frequently now, each week it seems like. And so I just want to acknowledge that.
Is that a good thing?
No, it's not.
Well,
What it makes it very difficult to do is receive pertinent information ahead of time. And speaking for myself, I believe I need to read something once, I need to read something a second time, and then I need to think about it at least for a day before, oftentimes it's sleep on it for 3 days. And so time is not our friend in these issues. And though I appreciate all the amount of work that you've done to kind of help to move these meetings forward, and I'd just like to acknowledge that that we're trying to make the most informed decisions we can, getting the information we can at very short notice. So, I don't think it's recognized how difficult it is what you're doing.
Well, I think in the town manager's defense, the job description document is on the town manager section of the town website. It's there. It's what he was confronted with when he started the job.
It's also in my contract.
So I don't know if the case manager is specified in the contract, but so
To the contract.
this is fine. I don't think there's any dispute about, do you want to be case manager? I certainly don't.
No,
But
I'm not suggesting we become.
what I think in the current climate, in the current climate, what has been missing is some proactive ahead of time consultation between the town manager as case manager with the select board. Now, administrative, fine, but other matters, I think it would help us a lot were we to have been consulted a bit more ahead of time.
Well, I don't disagree with that. I mean, I was surprised when a lawsuit was filed because I didn't see that happening. I thought we were negotiating in good faith and we're going to continue to sort of go back and forth. And it was a lawsuit. And so that surprised me, right? And I think if the select board can expect regular interactions with whatever is being, or whatever we're following, whether it's a complaint or a potential lawsuit, whatever, it might help us to stay on top of things. I don't know.
Well, it's vital legal affairs. It's not just paying a bill or administrating, setting up meetings and doing simple menial tasks. It's really fundamental legal judgment being applied here.
Yeah, but
redactions,
you have
etc.
to, so now you have to parse just exactly who does what and when is something that I think could be better defined.
Kimo, here's a statute, Chapter 37, 1233. Speaks to qualifications of the town manager, of course, and authority of the select board. And it says, in all matters, he or she, the manager, shall be subject to the direction and supervision and shall hold office, blah, blah, blah. All matters, to me, says no wiggle room.
Yes, but we still have to define things.
But that's a pretty broad description. We don't get to cherry pick statute or water it down. It's all matters.
Yeah.
They crafted this.
I'm not sure how this applies to what we're talking about, though. What we're talking
It
about.
doesn't say judicious selection of various things according to mutual agreement. It says all matters. So yes, the town manager can be case manager. Absolutely, yes. But we need more consultation ahead of time.
Well, perhaps,
Perhaps. I'll go on record as insisting upon it.
Okay, Rob.
The risk is slipping into micromanagement. You know, how much should we have been told about this? Should we, you should have been more prescient about the potential for this turning into something legal. Having that balance needs to be something that's subject to common sense. But if we get too refined about what we're going to demand, it's micromanagement, and it's inappropriate, I think. Having the town manager be the case manager, I think what you ended up with makes sense. And but beyond that, trying to specify what sort of things he should be on the lookout for, that should be common sense and potentially, if anything, part of a performance.
Well, the thing is we're his collective manager. So in my experience as an employee, I let my boss or bosses know what's going on.
Everything?
And
Okay.
matters of this importance, indeed.
Yeah, but I think this is going a little off the rails. What I'm trying to prove there is more like a fence.
Right.
So when something comes in, like we just had a sort of somebody asked for documents. So clearly, like that's town manager, that's on his side of the fence. But then that turned into a complaint. Whose job is it then? Now, is that select board or is that the case manager for litigation? Well, it was public documents, so it stays with the town manager. Should that have come to us? Should that not? I'm not questioning that our town manager did the right thing. I would have done the same thing, his position. But was that the right side of the fence for that to be on? Then it turned into a lawsuit, so clearly that's on his side of the fence again. But we're ultimately responsible. So there's a little bit of confusion for me about whether there's a fence or a fence with a gate in it and whether the gate is open or closed when it comes to legal issues. Ultimately, it's going to come to us. So with the case of the complaint, we managed it and we cured it.
Partially.
It never left us, but we got a lot of support. So that's, and the other one never sort of came to us exactly, except after it had been sort of fully formed. And so it's a question for me. Like I don't have a real strong opinion about it. It just seems to me that better defining it can't hurt. So that's why I was doing it. I'm sorry, you had your hand raised.
So I think we should think about this a bit. I haven't even read your memo. It came in, 4:30. So
It's just meant for discussion.
I think just to be clear, like that fence that you're talking about, at some point, if litigation is close or if litigation is going to involve a decision of the town, it is the Supreme Court's role. That is not my role. I think my role is up to that point working on ongoing legal issues that we have, every week in the town, and trying to use my judgment as the town manager to make the best decisions I can for the town. At a point where it becomes, hey, this is something that the select board needs to know about because we might have imminent litigation going here. I think I've always, in my tenure at least, been good about bringing that to the board immediately. Immediately. So I guess we've been at this meeting for 3 hours, and this is probably
good time to stop.
Talking, but I'm happy to read that memo, and if I can think of any insights that I could offer, I'll do so at a future meeting.
Yeah, I think all of us.
I'd be keen to know, just so we get a read, as a select board, we get a read on all ongoing cases. I believe there are 3, but I don't know for sure.
Well, that's not on the agenda for tonight.
I know, but just, again, as case manager, I expect informational flow to the select board about what's going on.
Okay.
and I'm not going to mention them by name because it's not on the agenda, but it's in the spirit of the case manager reporting to the select board. I would greatly appreciate that, and I hope my colleagues
Okay.
agree.
All right. So any other discussion on that matter? Good? Thanks.
I would like to make one comment, sir.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm listening, Cheryl Lindbergh, resident. I'm listening to this conversation, and it strikes me that there were people in the town who were aware of the Trussell versus Norwich lawsuit before this, all of these members of this select board were aware of it. And that shouldn't happen. And I feel like I'm hearing that from Brendan's comments, and I think that is wrong. That that information should be with you. We elect you to manage this town and to reduce exposure and cost, and to perpetuate legal fees when you might have a position that you would like to take to reduce that is important for the select board. And there are other cases that, are currently existing, which we won't get into, but you should know about those. And you should be aware of them and the costs.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Okay.
This was in my memo, and this was my first unforced error as a freshman selectman on March 13th, when we were shoehorned into executive session to discuss Trussell versus Town of Norwich wrongful dismissal lawsuit, filed in the Windsor Superior Court, December 23rd, 2025. 2.5 months before the executive session was called.
Okay, we're way off things here.
No, but this is the problem. We had our necks put into a noose for open meeting law violation for not warning the item and not explaining why we
Brandon, I'm
made.
stopping. This is not on the agenda.
But this is the case manager needs to inform us.
Okay, that's fine, but.
And the attorney, I'll hasten to add.
Okay,
Select board wasn't, for Brendan's
yeah,
knowledge.
yeah.
You weren't on the select
There's a lot of assumptions that might be false in those statements because we just can't disclose what we do.
But it was filed December 23rd.
Yeah.
We'll go back.
We can revisit that another day, I think.
Okay.
I think I appreciate the conversation and the comments made. Motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Second.